Welcome to the Cuttercast vlogcast. My name is Seth Larson. Thank you so much for watching and listening wherever you might be. On today's episode, I sat down with Sean Degrey and Tyrell Gray, both of which have been on the Cuttercast before, to share their stories as an Alaskan guide. We're talking about Alaska again today, but not as guides, as hunters. Earlier this year, Sean and Tyrell headed to Alaska to hunt for themselves, to chase some moose and brown bear. And they find success despite some early setbacks, which we will get into. Now, their story is epic, as you would expect. It's Alaska. They do find success. We have photos and some video as well to share with you. But without further ado, here's Chasing Bullwinkle with Sean and Tyrell.
They're like you're on a couch. It's a nice plane.
It's a nice plane.
It's pretty nice.
You can find me on my YouTube channel, Canvas Cutter.
Yep.
I have a podcast.
It's really just me. I mean, I let other people on it, but
The Cutter Cast, where I get cut out in every episode but two.
Oh, my word. Okay. We're all rolling, Landon. Perfect.
getting us in, getting us on.
Yeah. Hold on, everyone, just take a deep breath.
Deep breath. Dude, my nephew, he got me so good once. He like rolled the windows up and locked them. We were driving, I think, to Montana Tack.
Yeah.
And he had SBD'd, silent but deadly, and he goes, dude, do you smell that? It smells like popcorn. And so I'm like, what? Oh, man, it was horrid. It was so gross trying to roll it down. It was locked. Oh, it was a good
Those
one.
are the best. Have you ever noticed that people are like, if they smell something bad, they're like, oh, dude, you smell that? Oh, that's bad. Oh, my gosh. Oh, man.
You can't stop sniffing.
Yeah, it's like you can't turn away. It's like so bad. You just keep smelling. Like, what is that?
Sean's
Oh, my
obviously
gosh.
gets a little weak stomach on stuff like that. We were going to Montana once, and he's like, for 20 minutes, he's like, dude, I got to go, man. I got to go. Holy crap, I got to go. He's like, the next gas station, I got to go. So as we pull into the gas station, I jump out, I run in. It's a one-holer. So I lock the door, just tear it apart, don't flush. And I come out, I'm like, oh, you go. He's like, dude, I can't believe you stole the bathroom. He walks in, you hear this.
Oh,
I haven't forgiven him yet.
yeah.
I'm still waiting for my turn. He's got an installation going in at his house. I'm waiting until it's full of water, and I'm just going to fill it. Be the first thing you clean out of that pool.
First thing out of the pool. What the heck?
Oh, my word.
Yeah, that was really bad. I mean, you don't do that to your friends.
I mean,
that's
when you find
do.
out you have a good friend,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he's willing to sacrifice your needing to go to the bathroom for himself,
Dude, I was forcing it. I'm like, I got to go.
Come on, I can do
Come
this.
on.
he's like, just come on, anything counts. And I'm over there just like, because I'd pulled into the gas station. You know how it is mentally.
Yeah.
It knows it's time, and I'm just like, I'm not going to make it. Sucker.
Oh, my word.
So,
Well, welcome to the Cuttercast. I'm sitting here with Tyrell Gray and Sean Degrey. They've been on here before. That you guys just got back. Well, it's been a month.
Oh, well, yeah.
it's been a month.
Yeah.
A month.
Yeah.
A month ago, you got back from a pretty epic trip to Alaska.
Yeah.
Where we had some success.
Good year.
Yeah, it was good.
Had some
it was fun.
Had some letdowns because of Tyrell.
There was
on,
more than
easy.
just Tyrell. It's a
Hey,
letdown.
I'm in the room.
Well, I'm just kidding. I don't know the story. I'm just jarring Tyrell. But why don't you take us on this epic adventure? You were successful. I remember you sent me a photo of the moose you got, and I was just like, that's not real. That's
He's a
not
good
real.
moose.
He's a
cool.
great moose.
Yeah, he's awesome. Tons of character. He's a cool
He's
bull.
a cool moose. We so I've been going to Alaska since 95, I think was the first year I went up there. 94, 95. And I'm in love with that place, as you know. And but I've never hunted for myself for moose. I've guided a bunch of moose over the years, whatever. I've never gone for myself. So This year, I told Tyrell, I'm like, dude, I'm not going to help another person until I get a hunt moose. And she's like, okay, let's go. So we planned it. Actually, we were hunting brown bear and moose. So we planned the whole month of September. And then I just got homesick, so we came home early, but whatever. Right.
His wife loves him. It's disgusting.
It's gross.
It's gross.
It's more for the kids. I'm just kidding.
I hope you're not listening to this.
So anyway, so we planned this trip. The areas we normally go and hunt, we weren't able to get into. It's permit driven. So somehow, magically, we didn't get our permit, even though I think we were applied within 6 minutes of being there. Normally it takes 6 months for it to sell out. But we knew about this other area that we had talked about for years. And so we're like, well, let's just go try it out. And so we flew into some new country, and actually kind of new. We'd seen it frozen.
Yeah, we've hunted it before. It's the area that we ended up hunting is an area that we've guided in before, but spring bear hunts, so on snowmobiles.
Right.
And
it looks totally different.
Yeah,
let's just say
ironically, without 10 feet of snow, different place.
Totally different. But we had an idea what it could be. And so we went into there, fly around to pick our spot. And I thought we picked a pretty good spot, kind of centralized us between two canyons, if you will, to hunt for moose. And one of them came from a huge river valley up into this lake, so we thought we'd catch some movement through there as the rut gets kicking in. So we get set down on an awesome beach. We're doing our thing. Opening day comes. Did we find that bull opening day?
Yeah, opening morning. So the hunt up there in that unit is a trophy unit, so you have to it's a shorter timeline. It's only 10 days of actual moose hunt. And you have to kill a bull that's 50 inches or wider or minimum of 4 brow tines on one side. And so opening morning, we'd hiked up behind our camp. There's a pretty good ridge. We found a pretty good trail that we were able to get through. The area we're in is kind of a little bit of a pain. You can't trim any brush. And so it's kind of a hassle.
You can't trim any brush?
No, you can't cut brush. You can't trim a twig. And they're pretty serious about it.
Yeah,
it's really intense.
It's kind of a pain in the butt, but we finally found a pretty good ridge, got up on top of it, and found a great bull.
Yeah, so we find this bull, and he's got cows already, which is, it's
fairly early, isn't it?
Early to us to see him. He had 2 cows with him. So we put him to bed that day, and we get up there the next day, and a plane flies over us.
Yep.
And goes up the canyon where this moose is, circles it a few times, and flies back out. And, I mean, obviously, we're right there. Our big
Would that
camp
be
set
like
up.
an outfitter trying to find something for a future client?
No, it wasn't an outfitter. It was just an air taxi.
It was an air taxi service.
A guy you hire to fly you out.
Oh.
And so we're like, there's no way they're going to – obviously, our camp's right on the beach. You can't miss it.
Yeah.
Like, it's a big camp. And – man, sure enough, he flies off, turns around, flies back in, and lands. What was it, 900 yards?
Yeah, 980 yards away.
From our camp.
What?
This has never happened before. Like, normally when we're in Alaska, if you see a human being, it's because they're in a jetliner.
Yeah.
Like, you never see anybody else.
That's why you go to Alaska.
Exactly,
you don't want.
yeah.
I mean, I felt like I was on the Nebo unit hunting out of my truck. Like, what a minute.
These guys literally pull up and set up a tent 900
there.
yards down the beach.
Yep.
Really?
Like,
Yeah.
you could stand there and look at them.
We're dumbfounded, right?
I was
We just
like,
can't
oh,
believe
my
it.
heck.
That's a
So-
bit awkward.
Yeah.
A little weird.
It is. We weren't happy. So we're up there watching this moose the next day, and we're thinking, oh, he's going to move in because he's about 2.5 miles away, we figured.
Yeah.
So the first day you were there, you found him, but were you still under restrictions
No.
where you couldn't hunt him?
No. This is first day that we could hunt.
That you could hunt. Okay.
Yeah, but we were waiting for our kayak. It was forgotten at the.
So he's 2.5 miles up this drainage.
Okay.
You're not hiking him out
You
because
gotta
it's all
float him out.
willows.
Yeah.
It's,
oh my word.
so you got to float
and
him out.
you can't trim anything.
Can't
so-
trim anything.
Okay.
And it is a rugged canyon. It's not your normal open river valley. This thing's full of willows, and where there isn't willows, it just goes straight up.
And when
So-
we first spotted him, he was in a pretty crappy spot. The second day when we saw him, he had moved down, and we figured he would keep moving down. Like
Yeah.
and typically with moose, you can call them. Moose are funny. They're not they're not dumb, but it takes, like, they got to think about stuff. And so, like, typically we'll go somewhere, we'll find a spot where we know is a killable spot, and we'll call from that spot every morning and every night. And within 4 or 5 days, a moose will show up. And so it's just a matter if it's the one you want, right? But it's like they'll hear it, and they have to kind of think about it and be like, okay, I'm going to go check that out. And so that's our game plan. We're like, we're just going to call this bull. We're going to get him closer. Plus, we needed our kayak to get him out.
If we had a kayak, it would have been a done deal.
Yeah.
Right? We could have gone in, killed him, no problem. But because the river's too shallow to take our boat up. And so we're waiting around, and obviously we've got this new crew that's next to us.
Coming to hang out.
So we had found the moose that morning. We're making a game plan. We're like, you know what? Let's just go get him, and we'll get him packed in because our kayak's going to show up today anyway. We'll hike back, grab it, and then we'll just float it out. 50-yard pack to the river. Right? No big deal.
Sweet, yeah.
So we're watching them kind of see where they're staying and which side of the river we should play and how we're going to go about it. And we're literally sitting there watching the moose, and we hear the gunshot. And those
From the other guys?
Yeah.
Can they shoot? Don't they have to wait?
They
So it was
wait.
the
This
next
is
day.
the second day.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, it's the second day.
They hammer it.
No.
And so, like,
And we
we're
watched
looking
it
at
in the scope.
We're looking at the bull.
Oh, my
And I hear the
word.
shot, and so I look over, because I told Sean, I'm like, hey, look, we'll go up the river, and we can shoot from this knob or this knob, depending on which one we can get to. And so as soon as they shot, I just went to the knob I would have went to, and there they are.
There they
like,
are.
they're laying on the knob.
My
Boom.
God.
Shoot it, right? Just hammer this moose. And it's not like there's moose everywhere where we're at. And not only that, there's only two, that canyon and this other one, that we were planning on hunting. And they went in and stunk it all up. So they kill this moose. We never got to see we figured he was 60, maybe a little wider, but his brows, something about his front end was awesome.
Like, he looks like he has big fronts. We've got some video footage. I'll send it over to you, but you can tell, like, it's a good bull. I don't know exact details because so far with the scope, but
Yeah.
good
He's
bull.
a shooter.
For sure.
I'd have shot him. So totally bummed. Both of
yeah.
us are just like,
It was pretty depressing.
this sucks.
Yeah, that hurts.
First of
bad.
all, we're in Alaska, the Alaska we know for the last 25 years.
Yeah.
We're
To
by
not have that
ourselves.
very experience.
And then finally I come up to hunt for myself, and I got my neighbor. And we're fighting for who gets to kill it first. So, and they had the advantage. They got to fly around it first.
Cheaters.
So, anyway, but to clarify, they did not shoot the day they flew.
Okay.
They were legal.
It was 100% legal. They out-hunted us.
That's kind of the biggest shot was to my pride, because I'm like, we just got out-hunted by some tools that showed up a day late. Like, they showed up a day late. Like we're there 3 days early.
Our kayak got left behind somehow, and by the time it made it, we actually didn't need it anymore. So that was good. Paid for that flight. So we continue hunting. It's day 2. We're just sad.
Yeah, a lot of sadness.
So much sadness it started to rain. And so we go back down, and we're trying to decide, like, okay, what do we do? So
you never talked to these guys?
Tyrell did
they-
eventually.
They showed up one day. There's 2 guys right now from Park City that absolutely think I'm the biggest tool ever. I wasn't in a good mood.
I'm just going to say I was in our tent listening to the conversation, and I thought, well, that was pretty rough.
That could have gone better.
Yeah.
If you guys are on the Cuttercast, you 2 hunters, I do apologize. I was in a bad mood. That was rough.
He was already in a bad mood. He was in a worse mood when they woke him up from his nap, yelling at the top of their lungs at our tents.
You're in Alaska, and so we're very, like, we're there to hunt, right?
Right.
And Alaska is such a cool place. Like, they could literally be outside the tent door. So we're hunting nonstop. Like, you keep your quiet. We keep it. We're sitting there. We'd come home for lunch to the tent. We're having lunch, and I was taking a nap, and all of a sudden I hear their boat come cruising over, and the guy jumps out of the boat. He's like, "Hey, you guys here?" And I was just like, "What the?"
I look at Tyrell, I'm like, what is going on? He's like, and then the guy's like, hello, top of his lungs. Tyrell's like, what the heck?
I'm like, you realize we're hunting, right?
He goes out there and
anyways,
talks to the guy.
conversation.
It's not like you were mean. You just weren't. You just
pretty
weren't
short.
ready to have a
We're
conversation.
jovial because they
Yeah.
murdered your moose, and now
murdered
they're
our moose.
yelling at your
So
tent.
here was the issue with. I wish it would have been gone a little bit better. If I had gone out, I wanted to see that moose, and we
They
never
had
got
to have seen you guys, right?
Oh, yeah, they
there's
did for
no.
sure.
Why would you murder somebody's moose and
They
then
were
come
right
over
on
to
top
talk to
of us.
them?
who knows?
Okay.
Well, to be fair, it did sound like Fish and Game stopped them, landed on their camp, our camp. No, she didn't even come to our camp.
She didn't come to our camp that day.
So she went to their camp, talked to them, and must have told them we were hunting bears. So maybe, I'm giving benefit of the doubt, although I still think it's total BS. Maybe they thought they're just hunting bears.
Just hunting bears. Yeah.
And, hey, we killed a moose, go kill a bear on the gut pile or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
We didn't get that far in the conversation because it was about 3 sentences. Then they realized Tyrell was ready for nap. He needed to finish his nap.
Time.
So, anyway, because we both wanted to see the moose, so much so when the plane landed to pick up their moose, we had our binos on there to see if he had it strapped to his floats. Which he didn't.
Yeah, he was flying a beaver, so he actually put it inside.
Yeah.
So we didn't get a chance.
So we were kind of bummed because we wanted to see how big it would. Just, we wanted to salt the wound, if you will.
Yeah.
Like anytime somebody out hunts you and kills your trophy, you want to see it so that you have an even more confirmed reason to cry.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what we were after.
It's happened before.
We wanted to know that our sadness was justified.
Yes.
And we never got that chance. So anyway, long story short. So whatever, we go back to camp. That canyon's kind of burned up. It's the only moose we saw in there. Take a few days, maybe one will move back in. Turns out one never did. Yeah. So we hike. It was like about an hour hike to look into this other drainage. And we hunted there for a couple days.
2 days. Yeah, 3 days maybe.
Never saw anything except bears.
Big bears, yeah. That's the other part of the story is we were obviously looking for bears, but we can't shoot moose and bears at the same time. And so it was kind of added salt to the wound. Like we're seeing these giant bears.
So you have to hunt the moose.
So
and when you're done with the days that you can hunt the moose, then you can start hunting bears.
Yeah, so it's just the
What? Why do they do that?
No, it's not Alaska doing it. It's the outfitter we work for. You have to qualify for the species. So when you apply for your outfitter license, your registered guide license, you're picking these species that you can hunt. But Alaska requires X amount of time for those. And this outfitter had spent most of his time on bears.
Oh, okay.
So he's not a qualified outfitter, if you will, for moose. He is. He's 100% qualified, but as far as the statute goes, he's not.
Okay.
So what that means is Tyrell and I, with this particular outfitter, we can't guide moose. So that's why we never guide moose. We never book hunters, whatever. We'll go with our buddies and have a good time and try to hunt ourselves. But for bear, you couldn't come into our camp and me guide Tyrell on a bear and you hunt moose at the same time as a DIYer. Just because there's too much gray area.
Right.
Like, am I really helping you or
Right.
whatever? So that's why.
Okay.
So extra salt in the wound, though, that they seen giant bears.
Not only that, this one bear he was a stud, and we watched him forever.
In a perfect killable spot. Like, great bear.
I mean, to the point where it's like, let's just be done hunting moose. We were already in a dark hole.
Yeah.
We were in a dark hole before they killed the moose. It just got deeper. They just threw stuff on top of us. Yeah. And so I was like, maybe I should just be done moose hunting. Let's just focus on bears because we're seeing bears everywhere, right? So anyway, we never see a moose in there. Well, we're kind of burned out. We know those guys. We're thinking they're done. One moose, they're out here. Turns out they had 2 tags, so they're sticking around in that canyon. So we're like, well, that's dead. Let's go road hunting. So that's what we did. And that was day 4 or day 5.
Day 5, I think.
Day 4 or 5, we go road hunting, which road hunting up there was us getting in our boat, turning on the motor, and going down the lake shore. And this boat is, it's a ripper. This thing is fast. I think we turned on the GPS and we were like 4.9.
Yeah, maybe 4.6. Like super fast.
Miles per hour, fully cranked, just jamming, right?
Really blowing the locks on your
almost
hair.
enough that you could get away from the bugs. You couldn't, but almost.
So if anybody's curious how fast a White Sox or the no-see-ums can fly, faster than 4.9, okay? Because they were just on us the whole time.
The whole entire time.
I'm like, man, we need wind bad. So anyway, a friend of Tyrell's had shown up, and he was hunting with us, but I was first up for moose. So we're cruising along, and we left early.
Yeah.
And so it's, the sun's not all the way up, but you can see plenty. You just don't have the sun up in the air. And his buddy had never been to Alaska before, and so I nudge him. I'm like, dude, check out those 2 caribou. And he's like, oh, looking, and you're doing this thing and bouncing up and down with the waves, and he's like, oh, that's awesome. And so I keep watching him. I'm like, oh, Tyrell, you see him? He's like, and whatever. So we keep going, and I'm watching them. They're not really moving. I throw my binos back up. And it's been, 5 minutes maybe?
Yeah, 5-6 minutes.
I throw my binos back up, sun's a little higher, and I just go, turn off the motor. So he kills the motor. So the the waves are getting less and less. I'm like, dude, that's not caribou. That's moose. Now, keep in mind, a moose is like 3 times the size of a caribou.
Ginormous.
But what I was seeing is a little bit of antler showing white, and I thought that was just the way, not enough light or whatever. I can make up whatever excuse I want. Yeah. Terrible call.
Yeah.
So, and it's 2 bull moose. And so Tyrell floats us over to the shore, and we get out, and we throw a scope on him to see, hey, there's something we want to hunt. And sure enough, we're like, that's a shooter bull. Okay, let's go. I'm on the fence. Mm-hmm. We know it's legal. We know he's a nice bull, but I'm like, if I don't, Matt can shoot him if I don't shoot him, because I'm on the fence yet. Mm-hmm. So instead,
we're a long ways away.
We're so far away.
We honestly pulled over way too soon. Like we could have stayed in the boat for another 2 miles.
So we're idiots, right?
Yeah.
So we're so pumped that we actually found a moose that we just load up our gear and start going and going and going and going. I'm like, Tyrell, holy crap. So finally we sneak over this ridge. We're like, it's got to be right here. We pop over the ridge, and it's not looking familiar to any of us. And I'm like, they're in this huge, huge meadow of grass. I mean, huge. And we're popping over, and there's nothing but willows and creek bottoms. And I'm like, what the heck? And we've been hiking for an hour and a half now, way too long. And I look over, and there they are. I'm like, they're right there. So he ranges them, and it's 1164. We're still 1,200 yards away from these stupid
It's still a mile away.
So we have
to go back to the boat.
Yeah, we're already 2 miles from the boat. So we sneak in, but it's too late, right? We've taken way too long. They drop down in this creek bottom, and they disappear. So we think they bedded, but there's so many ridges and that you're like, I don't know if they went up
and
or down.
And is it really thick in there too?
Where
like,
they're at, it was
thick.
Thick willows. All those creek bottoms are just thick willows, right? So we get over there about where we think they are, and kind of look at the lay of the land, and we're like, well, they've got to be bedded right here, and if they're not, they're up above us. We'll catch them tonight when they get up. So we sat there 20 minutes, maybe.
We're both super patient.
Long enough for me to have a snack and a drink of water. And I'm sitting there, and I'm looking at the terrain, and I'm just whatever.
And we're probably like 300 yards from the creek bottom. But you start guessing in your mind, right? Like we watched them go in there, and I felt pretty good that I could see both ends. But then in your mind, you're like, oh, God, did they sneak out?
Yeah, what if they got in the brush and walked
up? Down? But like I felt like they were there, but you start questioning it. You're just like, oh, man.
So I lean over to Tyrell. I'm like, hey, I'm giving it 90% chance that they're below us in the creek, bedded down. And he goes, I'm giving it more than that. I said, okay. I'm going to hike down the creek bottom. You start calling. And then he stands up. I'm going to hammer it. So I didn't take my bow. I haven't shot since April. And when I got home, I literally I had 1 day to shoot. So I shot, and I called Tyrell. I'm like, dude, I can't get a good group at all. Like, I get out to 60, and I'm shooting an 8-inch group. I'm not comfortable with it. We're taking a rifle anyway. I'm going to rifle hunt. And I'd already gone and visited everybody to get the stuff, to make sure I had stuff to kill bears and moose.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, I don't know. You should just come anyway. We can shoot while we're there. I'm like, dude, I just don't want to get in there and screw it up. So he's like, yeah, okay. So I tell my father-in-law the same thing. He's like, oh, if you do that, you're going to be within range where you can kill it. And I'm like, yeah, but since I have a rifle, I'm not even going to try. Like, I'm just going to hammer it and be done, and I'll go back and kill one with a bow, whatever. So just because I want to be like 100% comfortable that I'm killing it when I let that thing go. Even though a moose has a 2-foot kill zone, it seems like they're giant.
So big.
So I'm sneaking down. Tyrell's calling, and we'll ask Tyrell. I want you to call a little bit so they understand the rest of this story, because this is This is like the best part of the whole hunt. Dumber than heck, but so funny. And so I'm going along the creek bottom or the creek edge, and we're up about 10 feet above all the willows.
Okay.
So I'm walking along that. Well, I come to this section, Tyrell's calling, of willows that comes over the ridge, and I got to walk around it. I'm not going to walk through it. But at the same time, the creek makes a bend too. So I'm like, I'll just walk around this patch and pop back out on top. And all of a sudden, Tyrell's yelling at the top of his lungs like a cow moose.
So if you've never heard moose, it's actually really weird. Like it's kind of this weird moaning noise, right?
Yeah.
So Sean's walking down the edge of the creek, and I'm hanging back. I'm probably 65, 70 yards behind him, and I'm just cow calling, right? So a cow call is something like this. You go. Well, as Sean gets to where those willows come up over the edge, just as he turns his back, I'm standing with my buddy Matt, and I'm calling. The smaller bull stands up. And so I'm like, holy shit. Like that, the big bull's right there. Like they're together. Like it's going to be right there. So I start calling super heavy. I'm trying to get Sean's attention.
Yelling at me.
Like I'm like,
and I'm in my mind thinking, take it easy. Like, no, exactly. I'm like, a little heavy, but I mean, whatever. If it's here, it'll stand up.
I start panicking, and I'm like he's not going to see it. The bull's going to stand up. It's going to run. So I go, John, it's on your left. So Sean looks at me, and he's like, what the hell?
He'll run around the corner, but he's not doing it justice because that sounds like he's just yelling. It was more like,
well, when I do that, the big bull stands up, and it looks at me like, what the hell is wrong with that cow?
I understand it and run around the corner, and
now,
it is full broadside.
And so now two bulls are staring straight at me, and Sean's right beside it.
They have no idea. I come around the corner of the brush, and there they are just focused on Tyrell. And I'm just like, what the? So I'm trying to decide, like, do I want to shoot this guy? And it literally, he shifts his head like this, and he's got these brows
the brows
they're
are
long, right? They're not like
insane.
palmated or anything.
No.
They just go out forever. And as soon as I saw when he tilts his head a little bit, I was like, done deal. And so I hammer him at 62 yards. Doesn't have a clue I'm there. If I'd have had a bow and shooting an 8-inch group, I'd have killed him.
Been dead.
Just go mid-mass and let her rip. So I hammer him, but this is the best part. And you know, I probably should have let him take a step or two to make it even better. But he was literally 5 steps in the brush. Human steps. Sean steps. And I'm really
so
short and fat, so
awesome.
my steps are short. 5 steps into the brush. He piles up, so we go down there, and we take pictures and do all the fun stuff, and we're just dumbfounded by how long these brows are. Because most of the time, the moose where we hunt, it seems like our brows are in that 15 to 18-inch range coming off the beam, right? Mm-hmm. And this was 27.
Oh, my
like
word.
They just,
they're
cool.
huge.
They just go out.
They're cool.
And they're long, like they're not. Like the points are long coming off of it.
No, they are.
It's really cool. So super unique for most of the time what we're hunting.
Yeah.
And anyway, so we're stoked about it. We're checking them out. And then Tyrell and I, it's time to get to work. We start butchering them, and I'm telling you what, we start to realize this moose is the biggest bodied moose we've ever been on.
It's a freaking giant. Like normally with 2 guys, so we'll butcher one whole side, then we'll roll it over.
Yeah.
Dude, we're trying to roll this thing over, and I'm like, we are either have lost all of our strength, or this bull is like
and it's
twice
not
the
2
size.
of us. It's 3 of us, and the
Dude,
guy
it's
that's
a
with us
giant.
is no small man.
Yeah.
He is a tough dude.
Dude, by the time we're done, we're covered in blood. Like you're hugging this thing and just
Trying to
oh
muscle
my
him
gosh.
over.
Oh, it was brutal.
It took us 30 minutes probably
it was brutal.
to roll him
That
over.
is insane.
And it shouldn't have. It should have taken us like 5.
It's
Yeah.
the worst. It's the biggest bodied moose I've been on in 15 years. Like
That
dude,
is
just
insane.
I mean, he's a
giant.
monster.
Because an average moose is huge.
Oh, dude,
Oh,
this
no,
thing's
they're big. This thing's
huge.
huge.
Like monster. It made his. That's why we kind of questioned it when we first look at it, because his body was so big.
It dwarfed
It
his
made his
antlers,
antlers seem smaller than they are. Like it's a stud bull.
Yeah.
Like it's a no doubt shooter. It's a stud bull. But his body was just gigantic. He made that other bull look like a baby. Like
Yep. And that other
huge.
bull was
a good bull.
probably 50 inches.
Yeah.
But he just was smaller body, smaller whatever. So anyway, we get him all butchered up, and we take our 5 steps out. And from that point, where we load our backpacks. Matt went and grabbed the boat.
Yeah.
We're like, hey,
that's a blessing.
you go grab the boat and we'll butcher the animal. So he goes and grabs the boat, gets it parked, walks up to us, and it's 442 yards to the boat.
All
And
down,
not only
all
that,
downhill.
there isn't short of those 5 steps, it's blueberries and tundra the whole way. There
my
isn't a
word.
piece of brush taller than your ankle.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Like,
Greatest
it was-
pack of all time.
From the time that we pulled the trigger and was back at camp, took us an hour to get back to camp on that really fast boat of ours because the lake's so big. It was 5 hours. So we
Wow.
killed the moose, pictures,
That is incredible.
butchered him, back to camp, and eating dinner.
And
in
to
5
put that in
hours.
perspective, like typically when we kill a bull, like you spend the day getting it butchered and getting it prepared, and then you spend part of that day packing, and then you spend the next day getting that out.
Getting it out. Yeah.
And we were completely done in 5 hours.
Oh,
Like,
my
Just
word.
done and done.
at the tent having hot
That is
chocolate.
so awesome.
So it was. I'm super stoked about it. He is a cool bull.
He is super awesome.
However, my moose story I don't think is over. That's the first thing I said to Tyrell when we get back. I'm like, well, I mean, I might need to go back. And he's like, what's up with that? I'm like, dude, I just, you hunt all these moose all these years. You kind of
Yeah.
moose. There's something about moose you want the width. That moose I shot's 56 inches wide, but his brows are stupid big.
No, they're incredible. They come clear out. Like,
Oh,
I've
yeah.
never
No,
seen
he's-
anything like
He
it.
is a fantastic bull, but now I think I need to get a wide bull.
Well, and to add fuel to our fire, so I've killed my bull that I killed is a stud. He's 67, and I absolutely love him. Like I'm not, and my bull's really cool. He's 67 inches wide, and his palms are huge. He's got 19-inch palms, so he's tons of
Like in
points.
comparison, mine's 15.
But mine's have typical brows. They're just the two brows.
Wait, yours has how many?
my moose is 19 inches palmed wide.
Yeah.
And
Inches wide.
yeah.
Okay,
the
and
width
yours
of the
was
palm.
what?
15.
And so my bull's like he's a phenomenal bull, but
He's
I hate that his
giant.
brows suck. And so now we're of the opinion we're like, look, let's go back and we're only gonna shoot something if it's amazing, which we found the second day after the moose season ended. So
The day
Oh,
after
my
moose
Oh, yeah, it was the
word.
day after.
Whatever.
Day after.
So the day after
Found a
moose season ends,
giant.
we're now bear hunting. We're looking for bears.
Could you have shot a moose?
If I wanted to, but
If we found, he
we
was
found
looking
one.
for,
I wanted a bear.
he would have shot the moose I shot for sure.
Yeah, oh for sure. Because I want
He's
something with
looking
cool
for
brows.
something that's
Yeah.
Big browed.
And so the day after it was the day after season ended. We're bear hunting now. We're up on our knob glassing, and this freaking 72-inch freaking
Whatever.
giant walks out.
He's a monster.
Oh, he's a
And
monster.
2 days before, we were up where he walked out sitting. So
He
now we
walked
know
past it
it's an
20
hour
yards.
and a half to get there.
Yeah.
Because that's what it took us to get to where he walked out.
So it was, I mean, we ended up being there for, was it 22 days that we were there?
Something like that, yeah.
So we were up there for 22 days roughly, and so it just feeds that fire, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we're officially bear hunters now. We're shooting bears.
like, you
but,
really think he was 72
Oh, yeah.
inches?
Dude, this
Yeah, he's a
thing is
giant.
a monster.
Oh yeah, he's huge. He's huge.
Like, I can't even fathom that.
Oh yeah, he's huge.
Just picture 70 inches and then add 2.
So the cool part about Alaska is a really neat state. I actually love. I mean, the state's so huge. You can go up there and you can buy the tags. They're over-the-counter tags, and you can put the tag on any animal of a lesser value. So a grizzly bear is the most expensive. It's $1,000 for a grizzly bear tag. But if you saw a moose, you could put that tag on the moose.
Oh, you're kidding me.
So next
That's
year
awesome.
we're going to officially be bear hunting, but that's what we said. We said, if we see something just freak crazy huge, like we'll shoot it and put a bear tag on it.
Just so that I'm not like super confused here. If you buy a bear tag, you can go, you're hunting bear, but if you saw that ginormous moose, you could shoot the moose, put the tag on the moose, use it for the moose. But if you go after the moose and it doesn't work out, can you go back to hunting bear? Like,
Yeah, so what Tyrell's referring
how is that
to
different
is we're
than
going to
your?
it'll be our own outfitter. Our own
Oh,
next year.
that's right. That's
we'll
right.
have all of our
Okay.
own licenses.
And
so
we under the statute we qualify
So
for moose.
you can go do what?
Yeah.
we could
okay.
at that point we could legally book somebody to do
to
moose
go
brown
do
bear.
right.
Yeah.
But what you did this year, you were doing under a different outfitter,
yeah.
which changed the
Yes,
what you
which
can
means we can't hunt moose
Right,
if
okay.
we're under contract for bear.
But next year
Okay,
we'll both have our
perfect.
own
That
license
makes
in our
sense.
own names,
That's right.
and so we'll do our
baby.
yeah.
So
That's
dude, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was an amazing year. It was pretty fun.
And then it just died with the bears.
Oh, as soon as the moose hunt ended, we ain't seen another bear until
that's actually,
the last
that's
2
actually
days.
not true. Like, we would wake up in the morning, it would be glassing, and you'd go, oh, shit, there's one up there.
That is true.
Like, these bears, I don't know what they're doing. Like, they're at the top of the mountain in the
And it's
rocks.
all rocky crags, and
And I'm
it's
like-
a steep.
Yeah.
I'm like, Sean, what in the hell are they doing? And we'd sit there, you'd see them for 20, 30 minutes to the point where you're like, okay, let's assault the mountain. We'll see if we'll catch them. And then they'd disappear. And then the next, 2 hours later, we'd find a different one clear at the top. And I'm like, what in the heck is going on?
So we ended up seeing 2 bears that we did make a move on, knowing full well we had a 98% chance of not being successble.
Yeah.
But felt like we needed to make a move.
do something.
But it is funny because once my moose was done, Matt had a moose tag. And so we were hunting moose, and we saw another legal bull, but it was a bull that it was legal because of brow tines, and
It was a small bull, just good genetics.
we just told him,
like probably a
don't.
3-4-year-old bull.
We're like, don't shoot that.
Yeah, you would have been sad. Like, he'd have been disappointed. Anybody would have been disappointed. Like, it's smaller than a Shiras. Like, it's a 3-year-old bull, small paddles, tiny.
But
like, he's
just
probably
brows like you wouldn't
cool
believe,
brows.
and made it legal. But he's like, I'll take a legal bull. I'm like,
yeah.
I don't. You're not gonna be. You wouldn't be. You'd shoot
Yeah.
it, and you'd be like, check out my Alaska bull, and they're like,
He's
what?
28 inches wide.
Did you ever find out how old your bull was?
No, so they don't do in that area. They don't record that
any
information.
aging?
But we were thinking he's probably 8. That's what we were looking at.
I
It. We're
guess.
like, oh,
Is
this
that like
8-year-old.
average age to the bulls that you guys have killed in the past, or like why do you think is
So
just genetics?
yeah,
why was
just
his
looking
body
at him.
so big?
Dude, just genetics. I mean,
I think he was in his prime. I think he was in phenomenal shape. Like, just
some people are just
big bull.
taller than others.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was big.
He so we didn't weigh his quarters or anything, but we did have to weigh the cape because I brought it home. So that's how I know the weight of it. And we typically, the capes that we've brought home in the past are in that 65 to 75 pound range for the cape. And this cape was 98 pounds.
Holy, yeah, it's
And we do not leave meat on the cape.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like
we're
this
super
thing
clean.
is clean, right? 98 pounds.
98 pounds.
Oh, yeah, it's
the
huge.
cape itself.
Stupidest thing ever. When we saw that, we were both just like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah,
There's no way.
Oh
It's
my
huge.
word, that is big.
it's a big bull. Yeah,
It's
That's
stupid.
awesome.
But his cape's big enough. I mean, use it as a blanket.
Now, when you sent me the photos too, I was like, I have to talk to them about that. I was staring at them, and then I was like, I put my thumb on it, and it was a live photo, and it's a beautiful photo. You put your thumb on it, and then it's just bugs everywhere.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
And I was
That's
like,
brutal.
Miserable.
how do you just get used to it and you ignore them? Like, how do you not go around and mesh netting?
So when you take the photo, it's like this. Take it. Throw the mesh back
it?
on. Yeah,
Okay.
that's exactly how it is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Because I
brutal.
was like, how is he just doing that?
It's like, sup?
It's just like bugs.
Come back, and my face is from being eaten alive. Hey, guy.
And they're like bugs that like to bite and
They
stuff
do
like
like
that.
to bite
Yeah.
a lot, and
Word.
it seems like it takes forever to heal. They itch like crazy.
They I don't know why I react to them, so my hands will puff up. My hands will get big old fat.
Not
and
only
puffy.
that, your face.
I got bit.
He got bit on the eye, and he's just
I look
like,
like Quasimodo. It's like
so.
it was
A few.
I was shooting my bow, so I just hang out and shoot. And just as I was going to release, this bug was right there, and I'm like, I'm gonna shoot. So I shot, and then wiped it off, but he'd already got me, and it just it was
I
brutal.
got bit by, this is years ago when I was guiding, I got bit by those stupid no-see-ums on the eye and on the lip, and I woke up one morning and I'm just like, Tyrell's like,
What happened
the
to
hell
you?"
happened to you? Just like walking around,
Hi, guys.
Yeah, they're
tongues hanging out, chewing on it.
yeah, they're brutal. I get so paranoid about it. I carry, like, I'll have a head net in every pocket. Just because if you're like going through the brush and you lose a head net or something, that's a nightmare.
Well, and I forgot mine the one day. I'm like, dude, that was my head net. And he's like, oh, I got an extra.
Here, which size you want?
Yeah. You definitely want a head net. And we prefer to use that chemical that melts your clothing and melts the skin off your bones called DEET. Yeah. We do that.
I'm actually totally I hate bug spray. I absolutely freaking hate it.
Yeah.
And so, like, anywhere, I'd rather get bit by mosquitoes than have it on. In Alaska, dude, I gargle with that crap. Like, I drown myself. It's so bad.
But does it, work?
It does.
Not 20% DEET doesn't work. You
have to go,
that will kill you, too. So, that's the only
I got cancer from my Alaska.
Yeah, but it was a great
no bugs.
I didn't even get bit. Just dying slow of cancer.
My arm's slowly falling off, but didn't get bit once.
So, no, but it legitimately, that 100% DEET, you have to be careful with what
100% DEET?
That's 98, I think.
I think it's 98, but you got to be careful.
Can you even get that?
Like, Sean spilt a little bit in his bag, and it literally ate the inside lining of the of his
so you know how
backpack.
they have, I had a Kafaru pack and had their accessory bags, and it's got that little rubber lining or some sort of membrane in there. Totally melted all that out.
Yeah.
What else was in there?
So you know that's not good for you.
How do you apply it then?
Like this?
Do you really?
Oh, yeah.
It's like my skin's burning a little bit.
Yeah. I'm just like, Tyrell, is that normal? There's a hole through my hand and blood oozing.
Why is my hand bubbling?
Yeah. No, what is that thing I can't think of the word all of a sudden to the UV thing we use to clean our water.
Oh, yeah, the SteriPen.
The SteriPen is in its pack,
in
and it's got the little rubber SteriPen logo printed on there. Totally gone. Just melted away into ooze.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bad stuff. It'll melt. There's certain clothing that it will.
Like there's no way it can be
destroy
good for you, but I
But
drown
it
myself
does
in
keep
it.
those bugs from biting you.
I figure, if it's like, and we don't use it every day because if it's windy, you don't need it. Mm-hmm. But if it's not windy, like that moose.
Oh, my word. I'm not joking. I was like, what?
No,
Look at
bad.
this. Everybody's just like, wow, that's a lot of bugs.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
it's brutal.
so many bugs.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So you want some wind, more than 5 miles an hour, as you know, because
That's how fast they fly.
Because they can
catch
fly
the
at least
boat.
4.6. Yeah, for sure.
So, but anyway, it was an awesome hunt. We had a great time. It was a great way to definitely some incentive in where the moose was to say, yeah, we probably should shoot this because it's right there.
Anybody that's listening to that, if you go, I would encourage you to get a fishing license. The fishing was phenomenal.
Oh, my word, I know.
I forgot about it, so Sean's fishing. I just have to sit there and watch. But it was like nonstop. I was like, man, this sucks.
And they're not small.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
We're catching some big fish and lake trout, dolly varden, Arctic char, grayling.
I'm officially the fish holder. Sean catches them, and then I take pictures with him.
He's like, hey, guys,
Look at this fish I held.
this is the biggest one I've ever caught.
Except for Sean caught it.
Yeah,
fun trip.
I always buy a license every time I go, and sometimes it's been okay fishing, but it was phenomenal fishing this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun.
Like during the middle of the day when we were bear hunting towards the end, I mean, we went out to this area. There's a river that comes in, a little creek into the lake, and it was good for fishing. And it was crystal clear. You could see these fish swimming around. So I just made Tyrell kind of push me around.
A little further,
fun.
Tyrell.
Yeah.
A little to the left, a little to the left.
Tyrell, you see a little bit more.
Remember to buy your own license next year.
I'd do it for you, but you don't have a license. So we were hammering them.
That's awesome.
It was so much fun.
It's cool, too, because, like in Utah, right, you're catching trout predominantly. Yeah. But up there, like Sean said, you get dolly varden, you'll get lake trout, you'll get Arctic char, you'll get grayling.
Big grayling.
And so it's cool just to see different fish instead of the same.
And we'll usually keep a couple and eat them. This year we didn't because we forgot. The only way I like to eat them is in the Mountain House macaroni and cheese. And
you're kidding me.
We didn't bring any of that.
Oh.
So we're like, well, I'm not going to eat it.
I'm not having it. We don't have any mac and cheese.
It's not in the mac and cheese. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, we shake it off the hook and just kick them back in the lake.
Yeah. Doing our part.
Yeah, that's right.
So, but it was good. It was an absolute blast. We are going to go back.
Sounds like it.
And that area we're in, for being a new area,
it's phenomenal.
It worked out.
Dude, it's
Looks a little different without snow.
Yeah.
But it's
it's more of a bear area. I think we were lucky to find the moose we did because it's not a ton of moose country in there like we were hoping.
Yeah.
But enough.
I mean,
dude. All it took was one. I mean, technically we needed two, I guess, but those guys from Park City shot it. So
Jerks.
So Park City, here's a shout out to you for out hunting us and making Tyrell mad.
Yeah. Waking him up from his nap.
I was sad. He was mad.
It's like being hangry, except for I was sleepy, so it's slangry, I guess.
Slangry. You just got him at the wrong time.
Yeah, exactly.
Superb
Yeah,
fellow.
you got me in Alaska. Like, you're not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a bummer. Like, I couldn't believe it. We did find some cool stuff. We were hiking into
Cool
one
stuff.
area and found some caribou skulls that were capped that hunters had
really?
been.
Yeah.
But it had been there long enough that the tundra was growing up through it.
That
the
is
skulls.
awesome.
So that was pretty cool. And then we're hiking down. You're in this huge, huge tundra flat, and then there's this big washout that's probably, I don't know, it's probably a half mile long or so, pretty deep, and then flat in the bottom, real flat. And so we're walking along, and Tyrell's like, what is that? And kicks it, and he picks it up, and it's an old wooden stake.
Like an old wooden tent peg.
Yeah.
You're kidding
Well,
me.
upon further investigation, we found it looked like the stakes were just in the ground, and maybe the
Right.
material
The
blew away, or
material's
who knows.
gone.
Nothing was there, but they were all still in the ground.
Just in a
That
big
is
circle.
so cool.
Yeah, so we brought those all back. We're going to make a coat hanger or something out of them.
That's awesome.
I mean, all burned off on top, and then once you go in, and it was a hardwood. We figured it kind of looked like oak,
Yeah, pretty cool.
but that was cool.
That is awesome.
You found a rock with a seal on it.
Yeah, found a rock. I collect rocks for my kids and found a rock that has like a perfect image of a sea lion, like a seal on the rock.
Really?
So yeah, it was a fun trip. It was fun to hang out.
He won the rock skipping
Dude,
contest.
27 skips.
27 skips. That's a great skip.
No, it was good. I was a super close second with 6.
At least 27.
Yeah, I quit counting once he passed 6, and then another 6, then another 6. I was just like, you know what?
Yeah. Go ahead and take it.
You know what?
I don't
You can
even
have it. I
care
shot a
about it.
moose.
Yeah.
What'd you get?
I'm fishing right now. Go ahead and skip rocks.
Yeah.
You steer
Enjoy
me
it.
to the left.
Yeah. So it didn't help that he gave me a round rock. So
This will skip really good.
he's like, if you want to win, skip this. It's like a baseball.
Oh, my
But
Lord.
it was fun.
No, great trip. Good year. Weather was
awesome.
pretty decent. And
Yeah, we
Yeah,
got
good year.
typically
wait.
you lose a lot of time to weather. We lost
we were
3
like 2
days.
3 days?
3
Yeah.
days. One day the wind
all.
was
We got
Just
bad wind
cranking.
one day, and then we got super, super bad rain for 2 days.
Man, I just feel like when I finally go, that will be my trip.
Yeah, that's how most people's trips end up.
It
Like,
was
it's- like
it-
typically we tell people to plan losing
50%.
50% of your time to weather.
Really?
Yeah, it's usually pretty rough.
take good gear because we would have lost our normal kitchen tent that we
Oh
have.
yeah, it would have been toast.
It would have gone with the wind.
Yeah, because that one day that wind was upper 50s.
I mean, it was
It was
cranking.
cranking, yeah.
But we had that Stone Glacier has a big tent now.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's called the Sky Dome or something. And so we took that up there. The floor comes out. Dude, that is the perfect base
That was
camp
great.
kitchen, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
we-
awesome.
We actually probably ought to do that. We ought to come back sometime with you and just go through our gear.
Yeah, that
Just
would
so
be
people
awesome.
know the
Yeah,
gear that
a
we
gear list
recommend.
for Alaska
Yeah.
from people who have
Yeah, we can
spent
bring
a
some
ton
gear
of
and
time
show you
up
what
there.
we use. And
Well, the kitchen tent,
that was
Sky
awesome.
Dome kitchen tent was
It was
a
a win.
wonderful move for
Yeah.
especially because of the wind.
That's awesome.
We knew our time was coming on our other tent. Basically, it was just a Cabela's
Outdoor
picnic
vestibule,
tent,
yeah.
and it's like we just were fortunate everywhere
Rest
we
its
went.
soul.
Yeah.
This year, she'd have been snapped in two.
Yeah, it'd have been ugly.
So
That would be sweet. We should do that for sure.
Yeah, it's
a gear
fun.
list one. Well, thank you guys so much
Absolutely.
for taking time to come on here. What an awesome
Thanks for having
trip.
us.
I think it motivates so many people to
dude, Alaska.
to get up there and come fly and land next to you guys. And
Yeah, just follow us
Hey
around.
guys, if anybody's wondering, it's cool. Just land right on top of us.
just go ahead and land right next to them, and they'll show you where some animals
Yeah.
are.
Well, I'll say just this because you never know with a transporter or whatever, but don't land on somebody else.
Yeah, that
Because
was,
in the end, you're paying the transporter to take you somewhere. Find another camp.
Yeah.
it ruins it for them too.
Yeah.
Like they were trying to go to some other areas that we were already at because they knew they were burned out on that canyon. And so you just don't land on top of people just because.
It was a
Plenty
little
of
frustrating.
room. You're in Alaska.
Dude, there's that area was a million
lake
acres.
It's a million acres in that area, and then that lake that we were on, it's about 2.5, 3 miles wide, and it's 7 miles long.
Oh,
like
my word.
There's tons of room.
Yeah.
A lot of room to land, and they landed
Right next to you.
I mean, I know why they did.
Yeah, they flew over
They
a
flew
giant
over
bull.
and saw the moose. I get that, but
Still a little dirty in my mind.
Yeah.
but you're in Alaska, man. That's the first
Spread it
time
out.
we've had to. It was
First time ever.
It was like combat fishing on Kenai, except we're
Combat moose hunting.
yeah, it's combat moose hunting, and they won the war.
They
Yeah,
did.
they did.
Dang
Well,
it!
you know what?
It worked out.
We're moving on. It worked out. We're gonna
no.
let
We're
this
just
one
coaching
go
everyone
in the
everyone
future.
else.
Yes,
I mean,
that's right.
In the end, the moose I got, we wouldn't have these awesome stories
true.
if they didn't land on us.
Correct. Yeah.
Like
I'm
we wouldn't have a
grateful they
story
did.
about Tyrell being short, not in height, in conversation.
In conversation.
We wouldn't have a story about me being so sad it rained.
Yeah, that's right. It's right. You know,
Wait 25 years to watch someone else shoot your moose. It's like,
Son of
oh. But
so sad inside.
hey, in our defense, we did say, "Damn, those guys out-hunted us. Congrats
Yeah,
to them.
yeah.
Yeah.
They earned it."
Yeah, they earned it. That was not an easy pack out.
Well, I think the thing that makes it worse than your average is like you almost expect that in a lot of areas,
Right.
Even outside of Utah. Like go to Colorado, like you
Sure.
almost expect somebody to. It happens on a regular, and so it still hurts when it does. You're still like,
sure.
But at least
I've
the
been trying to get that
expectation's
bull
there.
or that buck, but yeah, like. But in Alaska,
Yeah.
like you're going and you're like, I'm not going to see anybody. We're going to have these awesome experiences. And
The
then
world is ours.
there's just like land and start pulling up camp. Like,
Yeah.
like right there.
It's like, hey, you guys want to come over for some hot chocolate?
We're going to have dinner. You want to come over for supper?
Well,
You guys want some moose steak? Hey, we killed your moose. Least we could do is offer you moose steak.
steak.
and it was ironic too that where they set their tent, we literally had watched a grizzly bear on that blueberry patch the day before.
Yeah, we snuck in on it.
And so it's just, I'm like, not only did you show up and hunt our moose, but you camped where there's bears. Like so
That's
whatever.
Bless their soul.
that's right. The good old days. Like I said, it adds to the story and
It
the
does.
adventure of it.
It does.
Made that second bull the bull that I ended up getting all the more sweeter.
Yeah.
And it was a heck of a lot closer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good pack.
pretty sweet. That's awesome.
So it was fun.
Well, thank you guys for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
And until next time.
Until next time.
Until next time.
Cut her out.
Cut her out.
What an awesome hunt. Thank you so much, Sean and Tyrell, for coming on the Cuttercast yet again to share it with us. And Sean, congratulations on a stud bull moose. #jealous. Now, if you're planning on going to Alaska yourself for a little DIY hunt, I think there's a few takeaways. One, don't forget a mesh bug net. Maybe take one in each pocket like Tyrell. You never know. Going through all that thick brush could come off. You could lose it. Could forget it back at camp like Sean did. Luckily for Tyrell, he just had them coming out everywhere, handing them out like candy. And you take some bug spray, maybe DEET, where it eats through everything. A Thermacell, I have a Thermacell. I think Thermacells work awesome. Hopefully they work in Alaska. And another takeaway, if you're going there and you're flying in, don't land right next to another hunting camp or hunt the exact same canyon somebody else is. There's millions of acreage in Alaska to hunt. Find your own little spot. But surely it's a misunderstanding, utterly and completely. But until next time, bye.